How's it going, laser bursters? Up, I'm Sixkilla and welcome back to Danganronpa THH. Now we're halfway through a trial here, of which I think I formulated the correct answer, but we'll see how it plays out. Let's continue with our trial, shall we?
Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. Okay. Hifumi's glasses. Oh, it was wiped clean.
Changing how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Lies.
No, that's wrong.
You big douche.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository.
Oh yes.
His glasses.
We're clean.
That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
Perhaps I would. Shithead.
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless.
He would have cleaned them off so that he could walk up there because he wouldn't have been able to see.
And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
The evidence I found in the trash can in the nurse's office was his animu cloth.
I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot.
That pretty
One look
piggy,
at the
whatever they
bloodstain
are.
on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of
No, I couldn't
garbage
imagine.
like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
You mean corpses, clothes from your
Then
victims?
there's no question.
I wipe
It
my
belonged to
wipe my
Hifumi.
glasses with victims' clothing.
So what you're saying is... what exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see.
So he can walk up to the
Then
repository.
he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse
Copious corpse.
becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it paint or something?
It was probably Taka's blood. I think Hifumi killed Taka and then Celeste killed Hifumi.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
Or Celeste killed both of them.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out. So
One
he
or the
just
other.
dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained.
He moved
It
it.
should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Hifumi.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we
So
got
did I.
there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, He dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
Yep.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
Him and Taka had a rivalry going on, remember?
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
The note.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole. Maybe we can use it to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
Ah, that's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro, and that person could only have been...
Taka.
Got it! That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Why not? She's insane. Oh my god, broken wristwatch, Hifumi's glasses, cleaning cloth.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
The time on the note said 6 a.m. What happened at 6 a.m.? Taka was killed.
The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No,
Yes.
that's wrong! No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's
Yeah.
more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Where he died.
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Yep.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone
I'm
used
glad
that
you're taking
note to
part.
trick Taka. Just the same as me. Ugh. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
He's the one who gave it to Taka.
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Or Celeste, and he was covering for her.
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
The torn piece. Come on.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Of course.
On Taka's scrap, And Hifumi's note.
Oh, the same piece of paper, yeah.
Yup. They're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
Sure
That
did.
means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
No, he's dead.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
Yep. Dead as a doornail.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Celeste.
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Why walrus?
Anyway,
She got
when they were
tusks.
killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The hammers.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all.
Yeah.
But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository,
It was that hammer that was washed on the wall.
the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
No.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
Too tight, I think.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying
Tuba.
around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers?
They didn't.
Personally, I haven't a clue.
That's because you are the culprit, you bastard.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I
Yeah.
don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, same kind of
So
thing.
then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
The weapon that was actually used to kill Hifumi. The whole picture surrounding the case won't become clear until we figure that out. I have to find the truth. I already know. The mallet on the wall. Spotless hammer. On the wall.
What was used to kill Hifumi?
Spotless hammer.
Was it Justice Hammer 3?
No.
Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Because they left it in the room they killed him with.
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the...
No.
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Still a hammer.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off.
Yep.
I'd also like to point out that
Man,
the
I was
repository
on
has
this
all
case
kinds of
all the
hammers.
way. It's the first
Big
time.
ones, small ones,
It's the first time I knew what was going
and
down.
even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the
I'm proud of
Justice
myself
hammers
right now.
used those as a basis for
I
their
figured it
design.
out all with my own brain.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And
Yes.
whoever did that was the true killer.
Yes.
The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
And the one he had the hots for.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder.
Maybe he said you'd bang him if he helped you before
So
he
the
died, you
idea
know.
that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about
I think he
this,
would do
did
it,
we not?
even if he was going to die for a free bang with Celeste. We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least, that's what we thought at first, but... Shit.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Oh my god. Can I have that? Can't really say no chance. Two people work together on this.
Based on the rules that
If
have
two
been laid out
murderers
for
kill
us,
two different people, then are
even
they
if
both black
more
and
than
dead?
one
Because it
person
didn't
is complicit in
say
the
that that's
murder,
not true.
only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that
Yeah.
two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained
I'm surprised you didn't
to
just
us.
suggest to
But
bang him.
that only really applies if there's
Totally
one
would have been
murder,
enough, I think,
right?
for
In this
Hifumi.
case, however, there were two murders.
We're gonna say two murders and we're gonna hit
Based
impossible.
on the rules that have been laid out for us,
Because it kind of breaks the
even
rules.
if more
I mean,
than
it's
one
not
person is complicit
written
in
in
the
the
murder,
rules about how that works.
only the one who actually carried
Go away.
out the act can
You purple
graduate
bastard.
and survive. Assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Except banging.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime, and based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it
But
all.
it was all too... It was impossible for one person to be doing it. Because so much was happening at once, you
The
know?
mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still,
Yeah, well,
their
it's
choice of
basically the girl
accomplice
version of you,
seems
Bakuya.
odd.
The effort made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Curator must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Curator really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is
I
at this.
understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
Now we get to it.
That's problem
Brass
numero
tacks.
uno right now.
The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end murdered him. In the debates up until now, the way the case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. Finally. Hello.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am I?
Yes.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
Yes.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that
You
I
had
would
power
go
over him.
within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? Encountering the suspicious individual.
I got it!
You're the only ones who saw the
behavior
robot
they had
until
in
the
common
end.
has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes
That
on
wasn't
the
very
costumed
nice.
individual.
Fuck you, man.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
Yes, yes.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw
Look at
us
her
all
face.
to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? I saw him, the strange costume man. He ran off to the end of the hallway, etc. Yes.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Hifumi, scream. We go back down.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
So we wouldn't notice that only one of the
In
messages
fact,
came out.
Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Split into two groups.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the third floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead,
Yes. I certainly was not expecting this. I didn't imagine that Hifumi would be murdered. Indeed.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act.
At least we got Hero out of it.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom.
So that Hifumi could get out.
Wait! Then that was was?
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
What did she say? I don't remember. Must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. Oh, you're enjoying this, are you? We're all gonna die here. We're gonna die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that
Those
too,
guys?
but
You were
I
referring to
don't
Taka as
understand
well.
what's so strange about it.
We hadn't found Taka's body yet.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then
didn't even
Makoto
notice
showed up
that.
and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah,
Yep.
I see what you're talking about.
She said those guys.
Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear
She
that,
knew about
Celeste?
him being dead.
Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Byakuya said that Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. What's he alluding to? The fact that she's referring to multiple people. You twat.
All I said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Those
And
guys,
that is
yeah.
all I said.
But I need to shoot it with something
And
specific.
that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What
Yeah.
was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Oh. Yeah, she should only have known about Hifumi's death. She said those
All I
guys.
said was, they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened.
I never know
and
what two
confused.
sentences or what
They
two
must be positively
things they want
elated.
us to join together to make
We are all
that
going to die here.
point known. That's my problem.
We are going to die. Just
No, that's
Got
wrong.
it.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
you all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw.
Oh.
Then what about the picture I took? How
I think
do
it's
you
a function
explain
of the
this
camera.
picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Of course there's not. Other explanation. If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away, the only other possibility is Hifumi is dragging the suspect away.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being
Yeah, he's
dragged off
carrying
in
him.
that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Ooh, nasty. Celeste thinks she can prove there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is it really possible? Here we go. Oh crap. Robo Justice costume, Yasuhiro's message, Robo Justice blueprints.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous.
Why?
As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight.
The costume's rigid,
No,
man.
it's wrong.
You can't bend.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that, because that Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
A mistake or on purpose?
I'm not so sure that was a mistake.
Exactly.
I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
She's losing it.
Checkmate?
Now we have to do the rhythm thing. I hate that.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
I like how your accent disappears when you get angry.
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hey, Hifumi, who was it that attacked you? He tried to kill you. Yeah, but he was working for you. Their name, Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Wait! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He
That's true.
did say Yasuhiro. But are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
People's last
I
names.
got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example.
Oh yes.
So if Hifumi did mean to say
It was a
Hiro's
pain in the
name,
ass to have to
he
narrate.
would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name.
What's your last name, Celeste?
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal, but he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
We don't have Celeste's last name.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit. Come on! Enough with
That's
this
how we need her-
blather. Yasuhiro
her
is a
E
loser's name.
thingy.
Do I look like a loser to you?
We need to check her E dealing.
Well?
It'll have her name on it.
Do I?
A little bit at the moment.
I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
A little on edge. Jesus Christ, lady.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine. Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. Need her handbook. Her handbook will have her real name on it. E-handbook, there we go. That's what Kyoko said when she meant when she said the E-handbook would
Hifumi
come in
was
handy.
trying to tell
Be
us
important.
something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name. Yasuhiro.
Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
how many times do I have to tell you? My name is...
Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
Yeah, hard.
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
No, that's wrong.
Gotcha.
That's it. The handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
The handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it'll display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. There's so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Of course you do.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because... Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
It will, but unfortunately we'll have to wait till the next episode because we are out of time for this one. So we were going to fill this in the next one. She will get her punishment, and then we will move on and maybe make some more friends or something. I don't know. Till then, it begins Jordan. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.